The night arrives like a soft exhale, a gentle curtain of dark that settles slowly over the day. Breathe gently now, and allow your shoulders to drop. Let the small movements of your body become quieter, like the hush that follows a distant bell. Tonight, we will travel together through a quiet idea, one that has been present in the world since first memory. A silent pulse that threads through living things and the wide sky alike. This story is not a lesson to be learned quickly. It is an invitation to move slowly, to notice tiny patterns, and to allow them to shape a greater calm. Imagine yourself lying back on a cool, familiar night. The air around you carries the faint scent of something ordinary and comforting. A window left open, the hush of linen, the subtle trace of evening tea. Above, the stars hang in a patient hush, their light traveling through time to reach your eyes. Below, the earth holds its steady warmth. Between sky and soil, there is something soft and invisible. A current that moves without haste, an unspoken architecture, a quiet pulse that connects the small and the vast. That pulse is gentle enough to be overlooked, and kind enough to cradle the smallest breath. There is a voice inside the world that does not shout, that prefers to whisper. It steps through the body in tiny motions when the heart finds its steady rhythm. It rides the backs of migrating birds as they fold their travel into the arc of the globe. It warms the seam between root and soil where trees exchange messages without words. This presence is quiet, but it is everywhere. If you have the habit of watching the night sky and feeling your chest soften, you already know the first hush of it. If not, trust that a hush can be found in small things, in the way a kettle cools, in the stillness that fills a room after the lights are turned off. Take another breath. Feel the small electric warmth that your body carries as it rests the thread of energy that keeps the lungs opening and closing, that nudges the muscles to loosen. Imagine that warmth stretching outward in a ribbon of light, thin and slow, reaching toward the soil beneath your feet and the distant stars above. The ribbon moves without urgency. It does not demand that you notice. It offers itself like a gentle hand on the shoulder. Let your breath fall into the rhythm of that ribbon, soft as a lantern passing across a garden path, steady as the low swell of distant tides. There is a particular hush that visits when curiosity becomes calm. Think about a moment when you leaned back to watch a meteor that took its time across the sky, or the way a lantern's glow steadies when the wind softens. That hush is the open doorway of tonight's journey. You are invited to step through without the need to understand everything at once. The story will not hurry to explain each little thing. Instead, it will linger on small, warm observations. The way light skims along the edge of a pond. The soft way a leaf drifts off and lands without fuss. The peculiar steadiness of an old street lamp that seems to remember every passerby who paused beneath it. Before we drift deeper into tonight's gentle journey, remember to subscribe to Why Is That? Sleep Story. Here, you'll always find peaceful stories that soothe the heart and quiet the mind. Where are you listening from tonight? Leave a comment. Your presence adds warmth to this quiet corner of the night. In a small town or a city window high above the street, people sleep with the same slow currents threading their rest. Imagine the hush in a room where an old radio sits softly tuned between stations, a thin, patient buzz that becomes the backdrop of sleep. That thinness is like the gentle energy we follow, subtle, unassuming, and deeply trustworthy. As you settle deeper Picture a path of tiny lights leading out from your fingertips into the night. Each light is mild and slow. Each one knows the route home by memory rather than force. The first scene of our night is quiet and domestic. A table lamp left on to the warm color of amber glass. A teacup cooling on its saucer. A window with one small star framed like a promise. These are the little steady things that keep us safe. They are linked by softer currents we rarely name. In the hush of these objects, there is a lesson that does not press, that the world can be reliable in ways that are not loud. If your thoughts want to organize themselves, let them. If they prefer to float, let them float. Both approaches are welcome here, because both are ways of returning to the same gentle center. Few ideas are as humbling and kind as the thought that beneath fluctuation and noise, there exists a quiet architecture maintaining a hush. It is as if a patient caretaker tucks the world in each evening without ceremony. This caretaker might be called by many names: electricity, subtle energy, the body's own rhythm, but tonight it is simply the soft pulse that rocks the planet. Notice how your chest becomes a small, steady drum that keeps company with it. Let the rhythm of that drum be your map as the night deepens and the story slips like slow ink across the page. You are invited to listen to small sounds, the slow creak of a settling house, the distant murmur of traffic folded into the night, the near silent breath that slips softly like a tide across the land. Each sound is a thread in the night's blanket. Let them be known but not insisted upon. In this place, your attention can rest like a stone placed on calm water. Ripples fade, and the stone remains. There is no urgency in this story, only the patient invitation to be still and held. Let the cadence of your breathing follow that patience. Inhale easily, exhale with the soft assurance that you are safe. Tonight's first step was small, a breath, a setting, an image of thread-like light reaching outward. If you are already feeling your shoulders soften, allow that to deepen. If your mind reaches for other things, tell it gently that there will be time to consider them later. For now, stay with the hush. Allow your thoughts to become softer, as if wrapped in the same amber light that warms the lamp on the table. The journey we begin is kindly, slow, and faithful to the quiet heart in you. When you are ready, let the next breath carry you a little further into the night, like a small boat drifting toward the luminous edge of a calm sea. The night deepens with the kind of quiet that feels almost woven, as though each strand of darkness has been spun slowly from the day's leftover light. You may notice your breath settling into a gentler rhythm, matching the softness of the hour. Outside your window, whether it opens to a garden, a city, or a memory you haven't visited in years, the world is wrapped in a stillness that asks nothing of you. In that stillness, another presence hums beneath everything, as delicate as the faint glow of a lantern placed on an old wooden table. It is subtle enough to miss, yet steady enough to hold the contours of life itself. Imagine, for a moment, that this unseen presence is a soft architecture running gently through the world. Not a structure of walls or beams, but of tiny pulses, guiding and comforting the living. Within your own body, it moves like a series of warm sighs between the cells, signals that rise and fall, not with noise, but with intention. If you place your hand over your chest, you might sense it in the quiet rise of your heartbeat. Even in rest, the body listens to this gentle current, responding with the kind of trust that only the oldest parts of us remember. The scene expands softly now. The night air is cool, perhaps carrying the scent of pine or pavement after rain. Somewhere, a dog settles into its blanket, and a street lamp flickers once before finding its steady glow. Above, the stars appear in scattered patterns, some faint, others brave enough to pierce the dark. They hang like tiny lanterns themselves, each one casting a distant, patient shimmer over the earth. If you tilt your imagination upward, you might picture a soft river of starlight stretching across the sky, drifting the way clouds do when the wind is gentle. Let yourself float there for a moment, suspended between breath and sky. The world around you grows quieter still, as though preparing a space for you to rest deeper within it. Now picture a scene just beyond the edges of the familiar. Perhaps it is a small cabin set at the edge of a meadow, the kind where the grass moves like slow green waves when the wind brushes past. The cabin's windows glow with warm amber light. Inside, the air is calm, filled with the faint smell of books long loved and wooden floors warmed by years of footsteps. On the far wall hangs an old map, edges curled, lines faded, tracing constellations in a language only the patient can read. You step closer. The map is not one of territories or borders, but of connections, gentle currents stretching from the earth into the sky, from the sky into the quiet hearts of living things. These currents are subtle, like the soft glow that rests within the wick of a lantern even after the flame has dimmed. They move not with force, but with purpose. You run your fingers lightly across the map. Though no words are spoken, you sense what it wants to show, that everything in this world communicates through softness first. Even the smallest spark between two cells pulses with the same intention as the shimmering curtains of aurora far above the polar sky. Everything whispers before it speaks. Maybe you've felt that before, when you hovered your hand over the surface of a warm mug and sensed that gentle hum of heat without touching it. Or when you sat beneath a tree and felt an unspoken understanding pass between the wind and its branches. These are the same kinds of whispers drawn across the cabin's map. Hints of something invisible but deeply present, a quiet thread linking your breath to the distant galaxies above. Step back from the map and picture the room again. A wooden chair sits beside a window cracked slightly open, letting in the cool night air. The breeze carries with it the soft murmur of the meadow outside. You hear the rustle of grass, slow, rhythmic, hypnotic like nature breathing. In the distance, an old windmill turns lazily, creaking the way old companions do when they settle into a familiar conversation. There is no urgency. There is only the slow rotation, the acceptance of time, and the gentle guidance of invisible forces that move the blades. As you watch, imagine a faint shimmer passing through the meadow, almost like the air itself is softly glowing. It rises from the ground with no rush, drifting like a quiet memory. This glow is not bright or startling. It is soft, warm enough to be seen, delicate enough to soothe. You feel, instinctively, that this glow is part of the same quiet pulse the map hinted at. Everything seems connected through it. The windmill, the grass, the stars, and even the softness in your own breathing. Now imagine walking outside the cabin. The earth beneath your feet is cool, and each step presses lightly into the soil. Above you, the sky stretches wide and endlessly patient. The stars shimmer like tiny heartbeats. The meadow moves with the rhythm of a sleeping world. And as you stand there, you sense something both familiar and new. A gentle current passing through the night, brushing against your skin, as though welcoming you into its fold. There is no need to name it, simply let it guide the moment. You lift your gaze to the sky again. A thin cloud drifts slowly across the moon, its edges glowing softly as moonlight filters through. The moment feels suspended time, loosening its grip, thought softening until it resembles a quiet pool of water. In this space, everything breathes in harmony. The sky, the earth, the small creatures tucked away in burrows and nests, the distant hum of a lantern glowing behind the cabin window, and you standing gently at the center, exactly where you need to be. This is the landscape of tonight's story, a world where nothing rushes, where the smallest currents are enough to guide whole journeys, where every glow, every pulse, every breath adds to a soft architecture holding the night together. It's a place meant not just to imagine, but to rest within. And as you take your next slow breath, you begin to sense that this quiet architecture is ready to lead you deeper into memory, into wonder, into the soft, unbroken heart of the night. The night opens further, as if drawing back another soft curtain, revealing layers of quiet you hadn't noticed before. In this deepening stillness, the world seems to move with a slower, more deliberate rhythm. Even your own breath has changed, gentler, more patient. And as your body settles into this softness, an invitation emerges to explore the hidden architecture woven through your very being. Imagine sinking into a comfortable chair near the window of that little cabin from earlier. The wood creaks softly beneath you, a friendly sound, one that has known the quiet habits of night for many years. Outside, the meadow rests under a blanket of silvered darkness. Inside, the warmth from the lantern casts slow-moving shapes across the walls, as though the shadows themselves are swaying to the lull of a distant tide. Everything feels unhurried, receptive, ready. As you breathe in, imagine a tiny spark, warm, not bright, passing gently through you. Not a jolt, not a flash, but a quiet ripple. It moves through the chest first, the way a small ember glows softly in the dark. Then it travels outward, drifting along pathways that feel ancient and familiar, toward the shoulders, the spine, the fingertips. These pathways are always there, even when you are unaware of them. They carry messages as soft as murmured reassurances, helping you breathe, helping your heart find its rhythm, helping thoughts arrive and dissolve at the right pace. Inside your body, this soft spark is not chaotic or loud. It resembles a tide washing upon a quiet shore, gentle in its arrival, gentle in its leaving. Each cell listens, each cell responds, and together they create a harmony that supports your resting self. Think of it as a small forest of light within you, where each pulse is like a firefly drifting between the trees, illuminating the path just enough for the next moment of calm. When was the last time you looked up at the night sky and felt at peace? Hold that memory lightly now. Let it settle on your palm like a leaf that has drifted down without a sound, because the next part of our journey widens beyond the body into the world around you. Imagine a small bird resting on a branch at the edge of the meadow. Its feathers rise and fall with its breathing, slow and soft. This bird carries within it the same quiet spark, but it also holds something remarkable, an ability to sense the earth itself. Every year, without maps or instruments, it travels across continents, following something invisible yet steadfast. And deep inside its cells lies a tiny compass, guided by the faint electrical field that surrounds the planet. This field is not loud. It does not shout directions. It whispers them, the way a gentle breeze whispers across tall grass, and the bird listens. It always has. There is something profoundly soothing in knowing that creatures so small and delicate navigate the world by responding to signals soft enough to be mistaken for silence. It reminds us that the world does not always guide us with force. Sometimes it guides us with the lightest touch. Now imagine the forest that borders the meadow. At first glance, it is still, a dark silhouette against the star-filled sky. But beneath the soil, beneath roots and stones, a slow conversation is taking place. Trees speak in pulses, tiny signals passing from one root system to another, carrying messages like warnings, nourishment, reassurance. These signals move with the same gentle intention as the spark within your body. The forest is alive with communication, but none of it is hurried, none of it is loud. It is the world's quietest symphony, and you are close enough now to feel its hum. If you listen closely, you can imagine these signals as soft glows, moving through the soil, small lanterns traveling from tree to tree, not to alarm, not to demand, but to maintain harmony. Just like your breath, just like your heartbeat, just like the stars suspended in their quiet, endless arcs above the meadow. Shift your focus upward. The night sky stretches wider, drawing your attention gently toward a faint shimmer on the horizon. At first, it looks like a veil of pale green light, so subtle it could be a dream. But as your eyes soften, the shimmer expands, flowing like watercolor across the sky. This is the edge of an aurora, a dance of light born from currents that travel through space, arriving at the edge of the atmosphere with the delicacy of a whispered blessing. There is no urgency in the aurora's movement. It drifts, like silk carried by a slow breeze. Its colors unfold not with intention, but with grace. This, too, is a form of gentle electricity, not the harsh crack of lightning, but the soft meeting of particles that creates a glow just bright enough to stir wonder without waking the world. And here is where the journey deepens. The spark in your body, the guidance of the bird, the conversation of the forest, the drifting of the aurora, they are not separate stories. They are expressions of the same quiet thread, the same invisible architecture that holds the world together. Everything connected by softness, responding not to force, but to subtle nudges, subtle rhythms. It is a reminder that the world communicates in ways we rarely notice, and that its gentlest expressions are often its most enduring. If you close your eyes now, you can imagine these currents as layers of drifting light, each one moving at its own slow pace. One layer moves through your chest, guiding your breath. Another moves through the soil beneath the meadow, connecting roots and stones and sleeping seeds. Another glides across the sky, carrying with it the faint glow of distant storms and auroras. All of them weave together into a calm tapestry, surrounding you, supporting you, inviting you deeper into rest. This is the heart of the gentle journey, discovering that the world is soft in places you never knew to look, and realizing that you, too, are part of that softness. If you feel your thoughts beginning to drift, let them. If your eyes grow heavy, let them. This journey is meant not only to guide your imagination, but to soothe your entire being. The night is patient, the currents are patient, and there is nowhere else you need to be but here, in the quiet center of this unfolding calm. Whenever you are ready, we will continue. The night around you feels softer now, as though each passing moment has been smoothed by a careful hand. The quiet currents we've followed through your body, across the meadow, beneath the soil, and up into the drifting auroras, begin to gather into a single, tender awareness. There is a sense that something gentle is waiting to be discovered, not with surprise or excitement, but with a kind of slow, inevitable unfolding, like a bud that has been preparing all evening to open beneath the moon. Tonight's discoveries are not loud. They are not meant to startle or awaken. They are meant to soothe, to offer the deep comfort that comes when you realize that the universe's softest elements are often its most profound. Imagine yourself still at the window of the quiet cabin, the lantern beside you dim but steady. Its glow pools gently across the wooden floor, warming the edges of the room the way memories warm the corners of the mind. Outside, the meadow is still. The windmill has slowed to the faintest turn. Even the stars seem to breathe more quietly, as if settling in to witness the next layer of this gentle journey. And within you, something quiet stirs, not energy, not urgency, but curiosity softened by calm. Your thoughts no longer move in sharp lines. They drift in soft pools, widening gently with each breath. Now, imagine a thought forming in your mind, slow and delicate. What if silence is full of hidden stories? Not the kind told in words, but the kind told in quiet pulses, the kind we feel more than hear. Your body already knows this language. So does the forest. So do the birds. So does the night sky. And now it is your turn to listen in a new way, with deeper ease, with slower breath, with a softened heart. Breathe in gently. Let your breath out even more gently. As your mind settles, an image appears, a small spark gliding through the landscape of your thoughts. But it is not frantic. It does not leap or crackle. It is the same warm, drifting spark we felt earlier, part of a soft conversation happening inside you at every moment. This spark is how your thoughts begin, not abruptly, but with a quiet shimmer, like the soft glow of dawn touching the horizon before the sun rises. In the vast landscape of the brain, a place more intricate than forests, more expansive than meadows, ideas form not through noise, but through gentle storms of tiny pulses. Picture these thoughts as small waves brushing against the shore of your mind. They appear, they expand, they fade, and the calmer you become, the softer these waves move. When you drift toward sleep, they slow even further, becoming smooth ripples that signal to your body that rest is near. This is the first discovery of the night. Even your thoughts, at their beginning, are soft. The mind's quiet architecture mirrors the quiet world around you. But the discoveries continue, each one arriving like petals floating down a stream. Somewhere deep in the forest, a tree senses the change of seasons through faint electrical whispers in its roots. Not sharp or commanding, just small, steady pulses that tell it when to grow, when to rest, when to share its nutrients with the earth around it. The tree listens with patience older than memory, responding with a grace that requires no urgency. In the meadow, beneath the soil, tiny pulses travel from one root to another. They do not travel quickly. They move with the unhurried rhythm of a lullaby. And this slow-moving network becomes a kind of woodland heartbeat, steady and reassuring. It is the kind of secret the world reveals only when you are willing to slow down enough to notice. Shift your imagination gently now. Lift your gaze upward again. The aurora has grown slightly brighter, not dazzling, but with a deeper glow, like watercolor darkening in a soft wash of night. It ripples with a movement that seems almost alive, as if breathing. This light, born from particles drifting across unimaginable distances, carries with it stories of stars, storms, and the long journey through space. But when it arrives, it chooses to whisper, dissolving across the sky with a softness that belies the vast distances it has crossed. Here is another discovery. Even the cosmos can be gentle. Not all celestial phenomena roar. Some glide, some hum, some lower themselves into the night like quiet hymns of light. The universe is not made only of explosions and blazing suns. It is also made of silent drift, slow unfolding, and delicate glow. Think of that for a moment. The universe, often imagined as fierce and violent, also knows how to move softly. It knows how to cradle light. It knows how to send whispers instead of shouts. Another slow breath in, and a slower breath out. As you exhale, picture the edges of your awareness softening even more. The cabin around you feels warmer. The lantern's glow feels closer. The meadow's hush feels like a blanket settling over your thoughts. In this softened space, another gentle truth emerges. Even the smallest creatures listen to the world in ways we do not. A fox resting in its den feels the tiny electrical shifts of the environment currents carried by the soil, signals that help it sense the presence of rain long before clouds appear. A fish drifting in a quiet stream feels faint pulses in the water, guiding it towards safety. Even insects use tiny fields to navigate the darkness, moving with the confidence of creatures guided by soft, unspoken instructions. What a comfort it is to know that the world surrounds these delicate lives with guidance that never overwhelms them. A comfort, too, to recognize that you are surrounded by the same quiet support signals you may not perceive consciously, but which nonetheless hold and steady you in subtle ways. Now imagine yourself stepping quietly from the cabin into the meadow. The cool air meets your skin, not with a shock but with a gentle embrace. The ground feels steady, the sky feels wider, and for the first time, you sense the presence of a soft field around you, an invisible layer of calm that the world has always carried. This is not something to analyze. It is something to feel, like the warmth of a hand resting lightly on your back, or the comfort of a blanket at the end of a long day. This soft field is the connection between all things, the spark in your thoughts, the glow in the aurora, the whispers in the forest, the guidance in the bird's long journey, the breath rising gently in your own chest. Everywhere you look tonight, the world reveals the same message in different forms. Strength can be soft, movement can be gentle, wonder can be quiet, and the universe often speaks in whispers. Let these truths settle within you, not as lessons, but as comforts. Allow them to drift into your awareness, to float there like lanterns upon a calm lake. The night is not done yet. There is more to unfold, more softness waiting to meet you. But for now, rest in this moment of discovery, delicate, peaceful, and warm. Whenever you're ready, the night feels different now, though you may not yet know why. Something in the air has shifted, not sharply, not suddenly, but the way a tide subtly changes its pull long before the waves notice. The meadow is still, the lantern glows softly, and the sky continues to carry its trails of pale aurora. And yet, beneath all of this calm, a deeper layer of quiet is opening, like a door that has always been there, but only now chooses to ease itself ajar. This is the moment when the story, drifting gently like a feather across the landscape of your thoughts, reveals something that has been waiting in silence. Not a twist, not a revelation meant to startle, but a soft turning, a realization that glows with warmth, the way a candle reveals the contours of a dark room without ever raising its voice. Take a slow breath in, and an even softer breath out. Now imagine stepping a little farther into the meadow. The grass brushes lightly against your ankles. The earth feels cool and steady beneath your feet. The cabin behind you emits its amber glow, a gentle reminder that warmth is always close, always available, even as the night invites you further into its softness. Ahead, a single point of light appears in the field, faint, unmoving, as though waiting patiently. At first, it seems like a firefly lingering longer than the others, but fireflies flicker, and this one does not. It holds its glow with quiet purpose, like a lantern placed long ago for someone who would come searching gently, not with urgency. You approach with slow steps, not out of caution, but out of reverence for the stillness of the moment. As you draw near, the glow becomes clearer. It is a small stone, smooth and pale, resting at the center of the meadow. A stone with a soft light pulsing from within. The same quiet rhythm you felt in your breath, in the forest, in the aurora. Kneel beside it. Let your hands rest in your lap. There is no need to touch it. Just being here is enough. As you watch, the light inside the stone grows slightly brighter, only a little, only enough to illuminate the blades of grass immediately around it. This brightness does not break the darkness. Instead, it softens it. The night becomes warmer, more welcoming, as though exhaling with relief that you have arrived. This is the gentle turning point of our journey. The recognition that the quiet spark we've been following is not only around you, or above you, or beneath you. It is within everything. Within the stone, within the meadow, within the tree roots and the migrating birds, within your thoughts, your breath, your resting body. Everything carries a faint internal glow, not literal light, but a soft vitality. A quiet hum of existence that connects the living and the motionless, the seen and the unseen. This realization doesn't come as a burst. It settles in you slowly, like mist gathering on a still pond. You begin to sense how the threads of the world overlap, how all things share the same soft pulse, even when their shapes and stories differ. The stone, though small and humble, mirrors the aurora's shimmer in miniature. Your breath mirrors the tide. The trees mirror the quiet communication of your own cells. The universe, in all its vastness, holds the same softness that rests now in your heartbeat. In this moment, you understand gently, quietly, that nothing is separate. The soft current we've been following is one continuous whisper, traveling through the world like a story passed from generation to generation. A story told not in words, but in pulses, warmth, and subtle connections. Now, lift your gaze. The sky above you has changed. The aurora, once faint and watercolor-like, now flows with deeper, richer hues, still calm, still slow, but unmistakably alive. The colors shift with grace, greens fading into blues, blues softening into purples. Each hue moves like fabric stirred by a soft hand, folding and unfolding in patterns older than memory. It feels as though the sky itself is responding to your presence, not dramatically, not with spectacle, but with acknowledgement, a gentle recognition that a quiet understanding has passed between you and the night. And in that subtle recognition, another truth arrives. The world becomes clearer when you move slowly enough to see it. Think of how many times you've rushed from one moment to another, missing the soft glow hidden in the ordinary. The warmth of a mug, the rhythm of a cat's purr, the hush right before rain, the quiet beauty in a simple conversation, even the gentle weight of a blanket settling over you at the end of a long day. All of these contain the same soft pulse you see before you now. This is what the stone reveals: not magic, but attention; not discovery, but remembrance. Feel your breath again. Notice how naturally it aligns with the glow of the stone. A slow inhale as the glow brightens. A slow exhale as it fades. This rhythm is older than the stars, older than the meadow. It is the rhythm of life learning to rest within itself. You lean back into the grass, letting your body sink into the gentle cradle of the earth. The sky stretches endlessly above you, and for the first time, you feel truly held by its softness. The aurora drifts like a lullaby. The meadow hums with its quiet roots, and the stone glows beside you, its pulse steady and warm. In this moment, you realize something tender and luminous. You, too, are part of this gentle architecture. You do not stand outside the world, observing. You exist within it, woven into its quiet fabric. The turning point of this journey is not an event, but an understanding, a soft expansion of awareness. The night has opened to welcome you, but more importantly, you have opened to welcome the night. Let that truth settle inside you. Let it ease any tension still hiding in your shoulders. Let it soften the edges of your thoughts until they resemble smoke drifting upward from a candle's extinguished flame. Everything is calm now. Everything moves at the pace of breath, and the story is ready to deepen even more into softness, into meaning, into the quiet warmth waiting just beyond the horizon of your awareness. Whenever you're ready, the meadow holds its breath with you, not in tension, not in anticipation, but in a quiet unity, as though the earth beneath you, the stone beside you, and the drifting aurora above you all share the same gentle exhale. You lie there, feeling the grass cradle the shape of your body, the sky expanding like an unbroken thought, the air settling into a warm, rhythmic hush, and somewhere inside that stillness, something begins to bloom. It does not announce itself. It simply opens, slowly, softly, like dawn touching the corner of a window before anyone wakes to notice. The stone's glow warms, then dims, then warms again, each pulse smoother than the last. The rhythm becomes familiar, not copied from your breath, but joined with it, like two soft notes finding harmony. As your chest rises, the glow brightens. As your breath falls, it softens. The meadow around you becomes a quiet amphitheater for this shared, gentle resonance. And in that quiet moment under the endless sky, something felt different. The sentence drifts across your awareness, as though whispered from a memory not yet lived. You don't know where it came from. It feels like something the land itself has said thousands of times to anyone who has ever paused long enough to listen. You close your eyes briefly. There, in the darkness behind your eyelids, you sense something widening, a soft expanse, a feeling of being gently unbound, not pulled, not pushed, simply allowed to drift, allowed to breathe, allowed to open. When you open your eyes again, the aurora has unfurled into new shapes. No longer a distant ribbon, it now forms vast, sweeping curtains of light, cascading in slow waves from one horizon to the other. Yet, even in this expansion, its movement remains gentle, unhurried, like celestial fabric shaking off centuries of sleep. The colors have deepened too, emerald folding into violet, violet easing into silvery blue. They blend without effort, without borders, as though the sky has remembered how to dream. As you watch the aurora drift overhead, another realization begins to take shape. The universe is larger than you imagined, and yet softer than you ever believed. You rise slowly, leaning on your palms, not because you need to stand, but because the moment asks for a slightly deeper presence, the way a candle brightens just a little when someone enters the room with reverence in their step. The meadow responds subtly. The blades of grass lean in a fraction. A distant tree sighs with a shift of its branches. The air warms as though a veil has been lifted. You look to the stone again. Its glow has changed. What once appeared as a solitary pulse now reveals intricate layers, faint circles radiating outward, overlapping, interweaving, forming patterns that look less like waves and more like gently expanding memories. But the most surprising part is that the glow no longer comes only from the stone. Look closely. The grass around it glows now too barely, but unmistakably. A soft, silver breath of light rising from every thin blade, joining the stone's rhythm, swaying to the same tender pulse. The meadow has become a field of quiet stars, each one waking slowly, softly, without disturbing the night. It is not bright enough to illuminate your face, not bright enough to chase away shadows, but bright enough to be felt. And as you continue watching, that light travels farther, moving from the grass to the distant trees, touching their trunks with a faint luminescence, like moonlight learning how to speak. The forest responds with a warmth you can sense in your chest. Its roots, already humming with the soft communication we witnessed earlier, now carry that glow deeper underground, sharing it the way old friends share stories late at night, slowly, without rush, trusting the quiet to hold everything gently. Your breath deepens. This is the soft climax of the story, not an explosion, not a revelation that reshapes worlds, but a realization that expands your sense of belonging. The glow is not magic. It is not a miracle. It is simply the quiet architecture of connection, made visible just long enough for you to understand it. Everything is part of everything else. Everything rests within the same gentle network. Everything glows with its own quiet purpose. A warmth spreads upward, through your arms, into your shoulders, into the back of your neck. Not heat, but comfort. The kind of comfort you feel when you receive a handwritten letter, or hear a familiar song, or find a place you didn't know you missed until you returned. This warmth settles behind your ribs, forming a gentle center of gravity, not pulling you inward, but steadying you. Look up again. The aurora has lowered, not physically, but perceptually, emotionally, spiritually. It feels closer now, as though the sky has leaned down to meet you halfway. The shifting colors softly illuminate the contours of your face, the outline of your hands resting in the grass, the small glow of the stone at your side. You are wrapped in light that traveled unimaginable distances, only to reach you in a form gentle enough for sleep. A thought rises from somewhere deep within you. The universe is not only vast, it is kind. This thought surprises you at first, but only because of its tenderness. You were taught that the universe is immense, unpredictable, filled with storms and stars that burn with unimaginable intensity. And all of that is true, but it is only half of the truth. The other half rests in the softness of its currents, the quietness of its signals, the gentle way it guides life, the patience with which it reveals itself. You feel that softness now, in the glow of the stone, in the hum beneath the soil, in the drifting aurora, in the breath rising and falling within you. The climax of this night is not a discovery of power, but a discovery of peace. a peace that has always been here, waiting beneath the noise of your days, beneath the urgency of your routines, beneath the layers of thought that rarely have time to settle. Tonight, they settle. Tonight, they soften. Tonight, they return to the quiet pulse that has been guiding you since the story began. Let your shoulders drop a little more. Let your breath deepen effortlessly. Let your eyes grow heavier, even as the aurora flows gently across your awareness. In this moment, without needing to think or try, you understand that you are held, you are connected, you are part of the soft architecture that binds the world in its quiet embrace. The glow around you fades slightly, not disappearing, simply settling into a resting rhythm. The meadow returns to its calm, the forest returns to its whisper, the aurora drifts into softer shapes, and within you, a soft expansion remains. The night has opened, and so have you. Whenever you're ready, the glow of the meadow fades into a deeper hush, not disappearing, but dimming into something more intimate, like the embers of a fire settling into themselves, choosing warmth over brightness. Above, the aurora dissolves into long, fluid strokes, drifting with a gentleness that feels almost like breath. The cabin stands behind you in its steady amber glow, a familiar anchor in this widening sea of calm. Nothing moves quickly now. Nothing needs to. You feel the air shift around you, a slow exhale from the world itself, and within that exhale lies a soft invitation to reflect, not with thought, but with presence. The turning point has come and gone, leaving behind a tenderness that moves through you like a quiet tide. Now begins a deeper journey, one not of discovery, but of understanding, of recognizing how the soft currents we followed tonight shape the world in ways both invisible and deeply felt. You settle back into the grass, letting your body sink into the earth's gentle support. The ground is cool but comforting, the way the edge of a pillow feels before your warmth touches it. The night sky arches overhead, wide and dark, sprinkled with stars that pulse softly in their distant silence. They no longer seem far away. Something about the connection you've felt has drawn them nearer, not in distance, but in meaning. Your breath slows, inhale and exhale, as though the entire universe is breathing with you. A thought arrives, not sharp, not intrusive, but soft as a feather landing on the surface of a still lake. Everything you see, everything you are, is held together by a quiet order. That order is not rigid, it is not strict, it is gentle, patient, steady. It is the soft architecture beneath all life, the faint electric pathways in your body that keep you steady, the subtle signals that guide birds across continents, the quiet pulses beneath the soil that allow trees to share nourishment with one another. It is the hum in the air before dawn, the warmth that rises from a cup of tea long after the kettle has cooled, the faint glow that lingers in the sky after sunset. This order is not chaos tamed by force. It is chaos softened by connection. You feel that connection now like a warm ribbon winding slowly through you. It moves with the same rhythm as your breath, the same quiet pulse as the stone in the meadow, the same drifting motion as the aurora above. For the first time in a long while, the world around you and the world within you seem to rest in the same calm. Let your eyes close gently. With your vision dimmed, another kind of sight appears, a soft internal picture forming behind your eyelids. At first it looks like darkness, but as your breath deepens, faint threads of light begin to weave through that darkness, slow and graceful. These threads gather into patterns, not precise shapes, but impressions of connection. a tree root reaching toward another, a flock of birds finding alignment in midair, a heartbeat settling into a steady rhythm, a lantern's glow drifting into the quiet room of the cabin. Each connection appears and fades with the softness of a tide sweeping across a shore. You sense something else, too. The stillness between these moments. The stillness is not empty. It is full of possibility, full of breath, full of the gentle pause that allows life to move with intention rather than momentum. Your mind, often pulled between tasks and thoughts, now settles into that stillness, as though it has found a long-forgotten resting place. Another slow breath in, and an even slower breath out. When you open your eyes, the world looks unchanged, and yet your perception has softened. The meadow appears calmer, the sky appears wider, even the darkness feels warm, like a blanket settling gently over the shoulders of the night. The stone still glows faintly. The forest sways in a rhythm almost imperceptible. The field hums with its quiet chorus of unseen life. A soft realization forms. The beauty of the world is not in its noise, but in the quiet order beneath it. You remember moments in your own life that felt like this order at work. A loved one's voice soothing you after a difficult day. The warmth of sunlight on your pillow in the morning. The quiet companionship of someone sitting beside you without needing to speak. A memory that returns unexpectedly and makes you smile. A moment where time seemed to stretch just long enough for you to breathe. These memories rise in your mind like lanterns floating upward into the night, glowing with the same soft pulse that moves through everything around you. With each memory, your heart loosens a little more, your shoulders drop a little deeper, your mind quiets further into the tender folds of the night. The reflection continues, not through words, but through sensation, through the awareness that the soft pulse that binds the universe is also capable of binding your scattered worries, smoothing them into shapes that no longer press or pull at you. Feel how your body responds. Your jaw softens, your hands relax, your thoughts drift in slower, lighter circles. It is here, in this quiet ease, that the world reveals one of its gentlest truths. The softest things often have the greatest strength. The small electric pulses that guide your heart, the faint signals beneath the soil that sustain entire forests. The quiet rhythms that guide migration across continents. The gentle glow that arrives from the edges of space to paint the sky. Strength is not always forceful. Sometimes it is steady. Sometimes it is patient. Sometimes it is simply present. As this truth settles into you, the meadow responds with a deepening calm. The glow in the grass softens to a shimmering whisper. The wind nudges the leaves with the gentleness of a lullaby. The sky dims to a deeper shade of midnight blue, cradling the last whispers of the aurora. You stand slowly, though there is no rush, no reason to leave this calm. You stand because the night seems to rise with you, not pushing you forward, but lifting you like a tide. Your body feels lighter, as though every soft realization has loosened a weight you didn't know you carried. From this new height of stillness, you sense the world differently, not as something separate, but as something you are woven into. You whisper into the night, maybe without meaning to. Here, no one rests alone, and the night agrees. The trees, the stone, the sky, the air, your own breath. All of them move in quiet companionship. All of them echo the same gentle message. You are part of this soft order, and you are safe within it. Let that truth rest with you now. Let it slow your breath, Let it cradle your thoughts. Let it prepare you for the deeper calm ahead, the calm that comes when reflection gives way to release. The story will carry you there soon. Whenever you're ready, the night has become wider, softer, and more enveloping than ever before. The boundaries between sky, meadow, forest, and breath have dissolved into a single, steady hush. A hush so complete and comforting that even your thoughts move through it with delicate caution, like footsteps across untouched snow. You stand in the meadow, the faint glow of the stone pulsing behind you, the aurora folding slowly into the darker blues of a sky preparing for stillness. The wind has quieted, the grass rests in long sloping waves, and somewhere within this profound calm, you feel your own presence soften, as though the edges of your body are dissolving gently into the landscape around you. Nothing asks for your attention anymore. Nothing pulls at your mind. Every part of the night seems to offer the same steady message. You can rest now. Take a breath, slow, deep, unhurried. And as you exhale, feel how the breath pours out of you like warm water, smoothing out the remaining creases of the day. The deeper part of the journey begins now. The story is no longer guiding you outward, toward discovery and connection. Instead, it guides you inward, toward release, toward stillness, toward the soft weightlessness that precedes sleep. The meadow beneath you quiets even further, until it feels less like a place you stand, and more like a gentle cradle supporting you. The earth is warm now, warmed not by the sun, but by the quiet resonance of everything it holds. Roots whispering beneath the surface, stones remembering the day's last light, tiny insects settling into their night's rest. You lower yourself into the grass once more, finding your place as naturally as a leaf settling into the curve of a riverbank. The blades of grass part softly around you. Your body relaxes into the gentle slope of the earth. And as you lie back, the sky unfolds above you in its grand, slow arc. The stars seem dimmer now, not because they have faded, but because your mind has softened into a state where light feels less urgent, less sharp. You see only the glow of the nearest constellations, suspended like distant lanterns guiding you quietly toward the horizon of sleep. Your breath deepens again, and with it, the world around you shifts into an even slower rhythm. The turning point of the night is behind you. This is the beginning of surrender. A soft breeze moves through the meadow, so light it barely touches your skin. It feels like the world brushing away the last fragments of thought, smoothing over any lingering restlessness. You feel the breeze, not as movement, but as reassurance, a reminder that the world continues to breathe beside you, gently, attentively. This breeze carries with it something new, a faint sound, almost imperceptible, somewhere between a hum and a whisper. It is the combined breath of the meadow, the forest, the sky, a quiet symphony of everything settling into its place. The sound does not draw your attention. Instead, it cushions it. It eases your inner world into the same slow rhythm. You feel lighter, looser, almost as though your thoughts are becoming softer objects, drifting through a gentle current rather than tumbling through your mind. Allow them to drift. Allow them to fade at their own pace. Nothing needs to be held tightly now. A memory rises, perhaps of a late evening from years ago, when you sat outside after a long day and watched the light fade across a familiar street or yard. You remember how the world felt simple in that moment, how the concerns of the day loosened one by one until only breath remained. Let that memory settle beside you, like an old friend. Another breath, another gentle surrender. You notice the glow of the stone again, now dimmer, now softer, but still present, like the warm ember of a fire that requires no tending. Its rhythm matches your own, slow, steady, patient. The stone does not guide you anymore. It accompanies you. It matches your breath, as a lantern might sway in the same rhythm as the tide of waves. You reach out a hand toward it, not to touch, but to feel the warmth of its presence in the air. Your fingertips hover just above the soft halo it casts, and you feel something like a sigh rising quietly inside you. Everything is okay now. Everything has slowed. Everything knows how to rest. Your eyelids grow heavier, but not from exhaustion, from permission, from the gentle release of effort, from the understanding that the world is holding you with care. You turn your head slightly toward the forest, and you see the faintest shimmer moving along the tree line. It is not the glow of the aurora that has all but faded. It is the last whisper of the pulses that traveled through the roots. A soft, silver thread gliding across the trunks like a lullaby sung in light. The trees sway to it. So do you. The night continues to deepen. The stars drift slowly into the darker corners of the sky. The sound of the breeze grows quieter still. And here, in this descending calm, another truth rises gently in your chest. You do not need to hold yourself together tonight. The world will do it for you. Let the weight of that truth settle into your body. Let it loosen your muscles. Let it slow your heartbeat. Let it make room for sleep to approach, unhurried and tender. Your thoughts drift farther now, like feathers caught in a barely perceptible breeze. They lift, they spiral, they dissolve, and as they fade, they leave behind only the soft texture of awareness, a warm, spacious, quiet, where nothing presses, nothing demands. You look once more toward the sky. Most of the aurora has faded, but one last ribbon remains, a thin band of silver green drifting across the stars like a final blessing. It sways gently, then gently dissolves, melting into the wide, soft darkness. You follow it with your gaze until the moment it disappears, not with sadness, but with the calm acceptance that all beautiful things know when to rest. Your breathing becomes even slower, almost like the tide retreating along a quiet shore, almost like a candle lowering its flame, almost like someone settling into the warm weight of sleep. You turn your focus inward, the soft currents within you, the pulses that moved your thoughts, the signals that guided your breath have become quieter, smoother, falling into a rhythm so gentle it feels like floating. You sense a deepening warmth behind your ribs, a widening space in your mind, a stillness in your muscles that feels like the first true release of the day. This is the descent, not downward, but inward, into the safe, quiet chamber of rest that has always belonged to you. The meadow fades at the edges of your awareness. The stars drift to the periphery of your vision. The breeze becomes a soft presence rather than a sound. You close your eyes again, and this time, the darkness behind your eyelids feels like a soft blanket, warm and comforting, woven from every gentle thread the night has offered you. You feel yourself sinking, not falling, sinking gently into a deeper layer of calm, a calm that holds you the way the earth holds a seed, a calm that asks nothing, a calm that invites everything to soften. Let yourself drift deeper. Let the story hold you. Let the night cradle your breath. Whenever you're ready, the night lies around you in its fullest calm, now a calm so complete that it feels less like a landscape and more like a presence. The meadow has turned into a soft, barely visible silhouette. The forest rests in a muted hush. The sky, once alight with drifting colors, has settled into a smooth expanse of deep, velvety darkness. Even the stars seem to breathe slower, their faint shimmer melting into the quiet fabric of the world. You lie on your back, the earth warm beneath you, the air cool above you, your breath drifting in a rhythm that folds perfectly into the night's gentle cadence. There is no need to hold yourself up. The world supports you. The story supports you. The quiet pulse that has been guiding you all this time continues its slow, steady journey through your body, smoothing every thought, every tension, every restless corner of your mind. The meadow no longer feels like a place you are visiting. It feels like a place you are dissolving into, softly, peacefully, willingly. Your breath continues to deepen without effort. Inhale, pause, exhale, letting more and more of the day fall away with every gentle release. And with each release, your awareness begins to drift not outward, but inward, into the warm, dark chamber of rest that has been slowly opening inside you since the story began. Your eyelids feel heavier. Your bones feel softer. Your thoughts drift like faint ripples across a still lake. This is the stage of night where the mind begins to loosen fully, where images drift in and out like slow-moving lanterns floating across a distant river. You may feel fragments of memory rising and falling not sharply, but like echoes caught in the folds of a dream forming somewhere nearby. A quiet voice in your mind, one that sounds remarkably like your own, whispers, "You're almost there." And you are. The boundary between waking and dreaming is thinning, becoming gentle and porous. You can sense the softness of sleep waiting just beyond the next breath, not pressing forward, not demanding, but holding a space for you with infinite patience. Your attention returns, for a moment, to the stone in the meadow. Its glow has dimmed to the faintest ember, a single, quiet point of warmth that now feels more symbolic than literal. You understand now that the stone was never meant to illuminate your path. It was meant to mirror your inner glow, the quiet pulse within you that has been accompanying you through every stage of the night. Even as its light fades, you still feel connected to it, a warm tether of understanding that does not need brightness to exist. You imagine reaching toward it with one last soft thought, not to hold on to it, but to thank it for its gentle company. The moment your thought meets the stone, the ember flickers once, like a lantern giving a final nod before resting. Then it settles into stillness. The meadow darkens further. Your breath loosens deeper. Another inhale, and the softest exhale. You turn your head slightly toward the forest, and the trees seem to fade into the darkness like silhouettes dissolving into paint. Their presence remains, but their outlines soften, blur, becoming part of a single, seamless gradient of night. The roots beneath the soil quiet as well, their pulses settling into long, slow rhythms that resemble the earliest phases of sleep. And then, a new sound barely audible hums at the edges of your awareness. It isn't a sound of the physical world. It is the quiet resonance of your own mind drifting toward its dreaming state. It feels like the soft vibration of a lullaby sung from far away, a vibration that isn't heard through your ears, but felt through your bones. Let it guide you. This resonance seems to move through you like a tide, carrying with it the last remnants of alertness. Your fingers grow warm and heavy, your limbs soften, as though becoming part of the earth beneath you. Even your heartbeat slows into the gentlest cadence, unhurried, steady, deeply safe. A faint sense of floating emerges, not upward or outward, but inward, deeper into the soft chamber of quiet that has been forming behind your thoughts. It feels like drifting into a warm pool, the water cradling you from all directions, holding you without pressure, without need. Images begin to appear behind your closed eyes, not vivid, not loud, just soft impressions. The meadow in moonlight, a tree branch swaying in slow motion, the ripple of the aurora's last fading veil. A hand, your hand hovering over the warm glow of the stone, a distant horizon where sky and earth blur into one gentle line. These images drift, merge, and reshape themselves into new forms, the way dreams begin to bloom just before sleep takes hold. You no longer direct them, they arise on their own, floating through the soft current of your mind like petals carried along a river at dusk. Thoughts lose their edges, becoming smooth, round, and quiet. Words turn into feelings. Feelings turn into warm, expanding space. Your sense of time stretches, slows, melts. Minutes feel like moments. Moments feel like drifting droplets of light. Everything becomes soft. Everything becomes slow. Everything becomes deeply safe. You inhale again, and the breath feels weightless. You exhale, and it feels like surrender. Somewhere inside you, a final layer of resistance dissolves. The layer that tries to stay awake, the layer that holds on to the day, the layer that fears letting go. It melts quietly, effortlessly, under the warmth of the night's embrace. Now the world feels distant, not gone, but softened, as though covered by a gentle veil that allows only comfort to pass through. Your awareness becomes a quiet glow, like the lantern in the cabin window, gently dimming. Even your thoughts, those small waves that lap at the shore of your mind, have become almost imperceptible. They appear as faint ripples, then soften into stillness before they ever reach the surface. Your breath is the only movement now, and even that movement feels dreamlike. Each inhale draws you deeper into warmth. Each exhale releases the weight of another unseen worry. You feel cradled, you feel carried, you feel on the edge of sleep. And the night, sensing this, becomes even softer, preparing the final descent. The sky lowers, the meadow darkens, the forest steadies its breath. Everything gathers around you like a circle of gentle guardians, ensuring your path into sleep is smooth, warm, and unbroken. There is nothing left for you to do, nothing left for you to manage, nothing left to think through or carry. Just one more breath, and one more, and one more, each guiding you deeper into the soft, luminous dark. The story will guide you the rest of the way. Whenever you're ready, the night has drawn itself close now, gathering its soft edges around you like a warm, velvety blanket. The meadow beneath you has become a single smooth sheet of shadow, the blades of grass blended into a quiet field of dark. The forest is little more than a faint, steady presence behind you, a deep, grounded hush. And the sky has become a boundless expanse of stillness, ink dark, patient, tender. The stars are dim, as if they, too, have tucked themselves into rest. Nothing around you asks for attention anymore. Nothing remains bright enough to pull you toward wakefulness. Everything, every sound, every glimmer, every subtle movement has softened into a slow, embracing calm. You are hovering now in the last gentle space before sleep, the threshold where thoughts become whispers and whispers become breath. Your body feels cradled by the earth, steady and secure. Your arms lie heavy at your sides, your palms warm, your chest rises and falls in a soothing rhythm that feels older than memory, the rhythm of surrender. Let that rhythm guide you. Inhale softly, exhale even more softly. With each breath, the world fades further into a tender blur, and the story, too, begins to dim. Like the glow of the lantern inside the cabin behind you, steady at first, then slowly settling into its last warm light before rest. You feel a gentle weightlessness now, as though your body has loosened its ties to the day. No more edges, no more tension, just a quiet drifting, like a leaf suspended on still water. The soft pulse that has accompanied you through the entire journey, the faint internal glow that threads through your breath, the stone, the forest, the sky continues to move with you. It doesn't lead anymore. It doesn't need to. It simply holds you, the way a lullaby holds the last thoughts of a child drifting into sleep. Let it hold you now. The stone in the meadow has gone fully dim, settling into a peaceful stillness, its gentle purpose complete. You do not need its glow anymore. You carry the softness within yourself now, a quiet light warming the center of your chest, steady and reassuring. The meadow, too, has changed. What once was a place of discovery and gentle awakening is now a soft, dark cradle, holding you in the deepest quiet of the night. Even the breeze has ceased its movement, as though the world has paused to give your rest the full embrace of its silence. Your breath slows further, your limbs feel heavier, your mind loosens into a soft, widening darkness. This is the final descent. There is no more story for you to follow, only the warmth of its echo, lingering in your thoughts like the afterglow of a dream. Let that echo carry you. Imagine now that the night draws a little closer still, until the darkness around you feels like the soft interior of a warm cocoon. Nothing feels empty here. Nothing feels cold. The darkness is not the absence of light, but the presence of stillness, a gentle space full of safety, full of warmth, full of quiet understanding. Let your eyes rest behind your eyelids. Let your breath continue its slow, tender rhythm. You are safe, you are held, you are already drifting. The forest breathes with you, slow, deep, ancient. The meadow settles beneath you, solid, comforting. The sky expands above you, vast, tender, unbroken. And you, nestled at the center of all this quiet, becomes softer still. A final, gentle whisper rises from somewhere deep within you, maybe from memory, maybe from imagination, maybe from the soft architecture that connects all living things. You can rest now, and you do. Your mind begins to drift into the soft darkness, floating like a small boat released onto a still lake at night. The world recedes into a warm blur. Images fade into feeling. Feeling fades into breath. Breath fades into quiet. And quiet becomes the space in which sleep arrives. The boundary between waking and dreaming dissolves like mist. Nothing separates you from rest now. Your thoughts, once drifting in slow spirals, have become smooth and weightless. Your body, once aware of the ground beneath it, now feels supported by something deeper, a steady, universal warmth that asks for nothing except that you surrender to it. Your breath, once counted, now flows effortlessly, quietly, peacefully. You are drifting downward, gently, softly, into the deepest calm the night can offer. Let yourself sink into it. Let yourself be carried. Let yourself fall into the soft cradle of sleep. The darkness becomes heavier, but in the way a comforting blanket becomes heavier as you relax beneath its warmth. It gathers around you like an embrace. It wraps you in stillness. It quiets every corner of your mind until only breath remains slow, deep, tender, and even that breath begins to feel dreamlike. If tonight's story reminded you of a beautiful memory, feel free to share it below. Here, no one rests alone. Every story is a soft lantern in the dark. The last of the meadow's warmth settles into your chest. The last of the sky's softness settles into your breath. The last of the forest's strength settles into your bones. You are ready. Let your thoughts drift into the gentle space that opens when curiosity begins to rest. Let your mind grow still. Let the gentle darkness gather around you. And as you drift, drifting deeper, drifting softly, remember, the most beautiful things arrive in silence. You are safe. You are warm. You are held. And sleep is already here. Good night. If this story brought you calm, leave a gentle comment for yourself. Don't forget to subscribe for more peaceful nighttime journeys.